Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Ariel. Um, I started my credit repair. Well, if you don't know, I am a credit and wealth coach. I started off as a credit repair consultant. I have my own credit repair agency. I started it about a year and a half ago. Um, Within the past few months, I have been transitioning slowly. I don't know if you all have been paying attention, but I've been making slow subtle changes into coaching because if you know me personally, this is my passion. Like I love coaching and educating people. And as I ran my credit repair business, I started to see that even more than credit repair, credit education, financial literacy education is more needed than anything. So this is what I'm going to be transitioning into now. I'm no longer accepting any new clients. You've probably seen me say that, and that is the reason. That's the only reason. So for my clients that are existing, we are finishing up their profiles, but I will mostly be educating people on how to fix their credit themselves. And the good thing about it is it's going to be more affordable and you'll also be more hands-on if you're looking to get your credit repaired. So that's that. I started my personal journey to financial literacy about 2.5 years ago. I've always been pretty good with finances, but actual financial literacy, I started my journey about 2.5 years ago. So all of the information that you'll get from me is going to be from experience. I've also invested into mentorships. I have a college degree. I have a 4-year degree, and I probably invested more into mentorships in order to get the information to invest into my own knowledge and into my business than I spent on my college degree. Okay, so all the information that I'm giving you is tried and true. Does anybody have any questions before we get started? No? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. Let's see. I don't know why it just flipped today. Okay, so for tonight's agenda, we're going to be going over what is a recession, strategies that you need to know, how to make extra cash, fundamentals of credit building, and then of course, 24-hour inquiry removal. Everybody wants to know how to do that. So I'm going to teach you all that tonight. I don't know why it's not flipping. Okay. So first off, what exactly is a recession and how does it affect consumers? So in plain terms, a recession is just a period of time in which our economy experiences a decline. During this time, it's common for people to lose their jobs, stocks to downturn into a bear market, and for corporations to experience a great decrease in sales. I don't know if you all remember, but most of you should. That's my daughter in the background, y'all. I'm sorry about that. Most of you should remember, we also had a recession in 2008. I was a lot younger back then, but what we're going into now is very similar to what happened back then. So I'm going to get a little bit more into that. So the likelihood of a recession as of right now. So government officials, I don't know if y'all watch the news or not, or if you pay attention to the news. I am very big on watching the news when it comes down to the financial news. I don't watch anything else. The news is depressing these days. It's always something bad going on, but I'm always on top of at least the financial news. So right now, government officials are on the fence about whether or not there will be a recession. Some people are saying, yes, there's for sure going to be a recession. Some people are saying, no, I don't think we're going to have a recession. However, the state of the economy and actions of the government are all pointing towards one right now. So I don't know if you all saw me talk about on Instagram a few days ago, what's going on is the government has increased the rates of the Fed. So the Fed is actually, I think somebody else is coming in. Yep. Okay. Sorry about that. So the Fed is actually where we get our money. So the United States, we don't just have a pot full of money. The reason why they're saying we are in debt is because we owe the Fed. The Fed is where our country borrows its money from, the Federal Reserve, that is. So what's been going on lately is they have been increasing the rates of money from the Fed. And the reason that they are doing that is in efforts to control inflation. So I don't know if you all know, but when they increase the rates of the Fed, most of the things that, well, I won't say most of the things, all of the things that we purchase that have an APR associated with it, that APR is based on the rates of the Fed. So when they increase the rates of the Fed, our interest rates also increase. So that means credit cards, it's going to be harder to start getting homes, cars, everything. They are increasing rates so that we can try to control inflation. And right now, I think this is about the third time they've increased it within the past couple of months. And this is the highest it's been in decades, okay? So over here, I have closures due to coronavirus has resulted in increase of demand, coupled with limited supply, which will together fuel inflation, which is going on right now, that the government will combat with increased interest rates, which historically pushes us into a recession. And that's what's basically going on right now. Does anybody have any misunderstandings on that? Okay. Everybody good. Moving on. Okay. So strategies that you need to know. Can y'all see that box that I just moved? Was that blocking the screen? Or you just see the screen?
We see the screen.
Okay, perfect. So strategies you need to know. First off, you need to stay informed. There's absolutely no way that you can strategize or prepare for something if you are not constantly aware of what's going on in our economy. So that's just what I was talking about on the previous slide. Make sure that you're staying up to date on the news regarding finances, decisions that the government is making, so forth and so on. Second, you need to make sure that you assess your finances. So creating a budget, you need to prioritize your expenses, eliminate things that are not essential, starting with subscriptions. And I know everybody has subscriptions. Actually,
yes.
I know. So what I would suggest you do, if anybody, I know most of us probably have iPhones. So on iPhone, if you go to your search bar, right here, y'all know how to get to the screen. If you type in subscriptions right there, it will show you literally all of your purchases. So Apple Pay, storage, y'all know iPhone likes to get us with the storage. So we paying $2.99, $3.99. Then we have Apple Music. Some of us have other subscriptions. Start there, because that money really does add up, and it's a place where you can start saving. So go through those subscriptions when you get a chance and take the time out to see how much money you can save, okay? Also, when it comes down to creating a budget, I know everybody is not good at that. I'm personally not good at creating a budget. I like to eat out a lot. So it's something that I have to be aware of. If you do have apps on somebody else is coming in. If you do have apps connected to your bank accounts, you will be able to see what you're spending the most on and where, and that's where you can start to cut back. You want to make sure that you're making sure that you are getting your essentials first, and then everything else that is, yes. So somebody just says some phone plans allow you to get some of those subscriptions for free within the plan. Yes, that is true. But for some, most people, that's not the case, and we're giving our money away. So I want you all to make sure that you are able to go into those apps that are offered by your banking institution, and you'll be able to see where most of your money is going. Make sure you start there and start cutting back on some of those things that you can cut back on so that we can start saving money. Okay, cleaning up your credit. Of course, this is something that you should be doing anyway. You will need credit throughout your life, but it will especially help you sustain during a recession. So especially for my entrepreneurs, during a recession, we never know what's going to happen, especially if you are in an industry that is not a necessity. When people don't have that extra cash flow, extra income coming in, what we would call disposable income, their spending habits start to change. And most of our businesses are, businesses that would be considered what disposable income is spent on. So credit will really help you to sustain during those times for my entrepreneurs as well. Of course, even if you're not an entrepreneur, credit is always good to have, but I wanted to emphasize that for my fellow entrepreneurs. Number 4, make sure that you supplement your income. So in addition to cutting expenses, it is also a good idea to maximize your income. This can be used for investments or save for emergencies. Now, I do want to touch on this because when I say supplement your income, when I say maximize your income, for my people who are non-entrepreneurs, this can be anything. If you want to go sell TLC, I'm just using that as an example, you can do that. If you want to start a lawnmower business on the side, you can do that. You can have as many side hustles as your heart desires, okay? But for my entrepreneurs, I just wanted to touch on this really quickly. We don't want to start jumping into different things for extra money. And a lot of times I notice that a lot of entrepreneurs do that just to try to make more money. But in actuality, that's not the best thing to do for 2 reasons. Number 1, when you start jumping around, it makes you lose your brand credibility. People start to look at you as a hustler and not as a businessman or a businesswoman. They see you doing this and they see you doing that. It is really not a good look. So it doesn't make you look like you are all in on one thing. And that's what you want to do. Your brand credibility comes first because it builds trust, and that's what's going to build your clientele and keep people coming back to you. Even with myself. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm picking on anyone, because this is with myself. I learned that from me myself. I don't know if any of you remember, I used to sell luxury fragrances, okay? I used to sell Baccarat and Creed and Bond Number 9. And I'll be honest with y'all, if I was selling, I'm not gonna tell you exact numbers, but if I was getting those fragrances for $5, I was selling it for $15. So say that to say it was a 200% markup. So I would just pay all of my actual bills, like my rent, my car, and my insurance, off of selling fragrances. It was easy. And like I said, it was a 200% profit margin for me. So that was something that I did for a while, but I had to realize, how does it look if you say you have a credit repair company, but every now and then you are posting selling fragrances? It doesn't make sense. It's not a good look. So I want y'all to kind of get away from that. And I'm going to touch on other ways that you can supplement your income as an entrepreneur without having to do that. But the second reason I don't recommend doing that is because I know we like to think that we can multitask, but if you're doing multiple things, something is going to suffer. So, for example, A lot of times, especially as women, we can be on the phone talking to one of our friends, and we might be doing something else at the same time, like cooking or working. And sometimes you have to be like, okay, let me call you back, so you can focus all of your energy on that one thing, because even though you may be able to multitask and get things done, you might can hold your phone to the ear and also do whatever you're doing at the same time, but it's slowing you down. You're not making progress as fast because two hands is better than one. Okay, so the same effect goes with if you're trying to do multiple hustles as an entrepreneur. If you put your all into your baby, what you feel is your purpose, what you feel like is your main business, you'll go so much further, and you'll also make more money in turn. Okay, so moving right along, preparing for the unknown. Let me get some water. Okay. Sorry, y'all. So during the economic downturn, you never know what decisions the government will make. Be proactive and do a little damage control. Okay, so right now we know it's a lot of crazy things going on. They just overturned Roe versus Wade, even though that has nothing to do with the recession. The government is radical. I'm not getting into anything having to do with that, because that has nothing to do, my personal opinions have nothing to do with this. But I just say that to say, you never know what decisions they might make. So you always want to damage control and protect yourself at all times. So what I mean by that, for example, a lot of us have IRA accounts, 401ks. And if you're not familiar with that, it's basically, if you work, your job will give you these, and it's basically a retirement account. With these retirement accounts, sorry, y'all. With these retirement accounts, what they do is they invest your money into the stock market. So during a recession, the stock market is going to crash. You never really know what it's going to do. If you are not careful, you will wipe out your whole retirement. A lot of people don't even pay attention to where their retirement accounts stand. So what I mean by damage control, if it were me, I don't have a 401k, but if it were me, I would I'm advising people. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I just want to put that out there. But based on being financially savvy and understanding how things work, I would not keep my money in the stock market. I'm not saying take all of it out, but something that you can do is take some money out and put it in a tangible appreciating asset. For example, real estate. At the end of this, when all the smoke clears, a house, if you put your money in the bricks, it's still going to be worth what it's worth when you get it or more. Okay, so that's something that's never going to change regardless of the fact. So that's one thing that you can do to damage control. Another thing that you can do is make sure, what was I gonna say? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought right there. But that's just a prime example of preparing for the unknown and making sure that you damage control, okay? Lastly, come up with a plan. So recessions are a land of opportunity. If you have the right knowledge and the right plan, you can become a millionaire. All it takes is one move. So what I mean by that is, during a recession, a lot of things become cheaper. I don't know if y'all saw, a lot of stocks, is particularly Amazon. They just recently did a stock split, which allowed for their stocks to be offered at like 1/20th. So a lot of people were upset about it. A lot of people who have stock in Amazon were upset about it. Some people were happy, but I say all of that to say, things that you feel like you may have not been able to get at another time, you will be able to get during the recession, especially if you wanted to get into real estate. There's going to be no better time than when the recession hits, because things are going to be a lot more affordable. Okay, so if you invest into the right things, so even for example, it's a lot less risk now for you to be able to get stock with Amazon. You might be spending $120 per share versus before you were spending $2,000 or something dollars. So the risk is a lot less. You'll be able to get into it for a lot less and, you know, possibly come out on the top after the recession. So yeah, that's that. Any questions on that? No. Okay. Okay. How to earn extra income. Let's talk about networking, leveraging relationships, outsourcing, and collaborating. So these pictures that you see, I don't want you to focus on those so much. Those are like little tidbits for me in my mind to make sure that I can remember what I wanted to tell y'all. But let's get right into it. So outsourcing. Outsourcing is a great way to earn extra income. For example, a lot of people who own graphic design businesses or they're doing websites for people, they are literally running the business as if it's them, but they are having somebody else do all of the work and they are taking the profit, literally acting as a middleman. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. So you can find people to do jobs like this on Upwork, on Freelancer. I don't know if you all have ever heard of this, but basically the way these websites work is you can post a job. So let's say if you say, I need somebody to make a website, a 3-page website for somebody that's selling hair or somebody who has a boutique. And what they will do is they will put in bids. You can put up $100 and you might get 40 people to bid and want to do those websites for you. And then you go through and pick who has the best website in your opinion. You can charge your client $350 for a website. $350 is not bad for a website at all. That's actually a great price. And that $250 that's in the middle, that's what you keep. If the client does not like the website, a lot of times they have edits. So once you choose these jobs, once you choose whoever you want to bid on, they most of the time will have between 2 to 5 edits that you can do. So your client is not going to get stuck with it. And you can do this with logos as well. If you're a person who wants to team up with a photographer, a lot of people are photographers and they can't get their work out fast enough because they can't get their edits back to their clients fast enough. Guess what? The same thing. You can find 4 photographers that you know and say, hey, I'm good at editing pictures. I can help you to get these pictures back to your clients at a faster rate. And you can charge them however much, $10 per picture, however much. And these people on these websites will literally do it for $10 for all of the pictures. I'm telling you, I have used outsourcing before on other things, so it's a very viable option, okay? Expanding your clientele. So right here, I'm speaking to my business owners. There is no reason, I don't care what industry you're in, there is absolutely no reason that you should not have a high ticket offer, a mid ticket offer, and a low ticket offer. Okay, that's if you are in the beauty industry. That's if you are, if you have a cleaning business. I don't care what it is. And by doing this, again, like we talked about, especially for my beauty industry people, because people are going to start to have less disposable income. Like we talked about, they may not be able to afford what you want to be your main item. So you have to figure out ways that you can create different tiers so that you can have more customers shop with you. Okay, so is there anybody that's an entrepreneur in here that would like to volunteer so I can give examples?
I'm one. I do catering. Jerry is speaking.
Okay, Jerry. So for example, tell me what your main, I know you said that you do catering, but tell me, do you take like custom orders from people, or do you sell dinners? How do you normally do it?
So I do custom orders. I sell dinners as well, but this weekend I'm actually doing my first on-site catering in-house.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, so for you, an example of a low ticket offer would be selling recipes. You can literally sell recipes for $5. You can type them up, you can add pictures step by step, and sell individual recipes. Somebody's trying to come in. Okay, you can literally type your recipes up, make it look really nice. You can use Canva to format it and sell individual recipes for $5. That's a way that you can get business from people who may not book a catering job with you, or for people who are not near you to be able to purchase a plate, right?
Right.
Another thing that you can do, just like I'm having this webinar right now, if you wanted to do a cooking class, you could do a cooking class and do it live for $15 and let people ask you questions, have fun while you cook, make it very interactive. And that's something that you could do. So that would be an example of a mid-ticket offer, right? And then of course, your high ticket offer would be what you're already doing. That's a way that you can expand your clientele. Additionally, when it comes down to expanding clientele, I want my business owners to understand that networking is key. I know a lot of times we don't like to, work with other people, especially if it's in the same industry, but it's a great way. So let's say if Jerry, you had somebody else that's also a chef or that's also a caterer. If you all got on, did you see how fast? I know everybody has seen it, the grinder challenge. Did you all see how fast that spread? And how many people were participating in it? That would be a perfect example of something that you could do, starting a challenge with another person that's in the same industry as you, and you all could get on live together, and that makes their clientele see your clientele and not their clientele see your clientele, their clientele see you and your clientele see them, and now y'all have both shared an audience and y'all both have grown your audience. Okay, so when it comes down to expanding your clientele, you should definitely think of creative ways. You need to make sure that you are having add-ons, you're having those multiple entry offers so that you can make sure you have more business. So that's a great way to supplement your income. Brokering, okay? I want to talk about this because a lot of people don't think about this. How many of you know an event planner? I'm sure everybody does. Event planners, what they do is I'm not saying anything bad about it because I respect everybody that is making their money. But event planners, they barely do anything. They call around, they see who has tables and chairs, they see who has a building, they see who has this, who has that, and they basically get the lowest price and they put their markup on it. Okay, so that would be an example of brokering, another way of acting as a middleman in order to offer your service. Okay, so that's an example of something you can do. Another example, so that I'm just not giving one example. If you are a person who doesn't work, let's say if you're in school and you just have free time, You can literally, especially for my women, we can really get away with this. Go in Home Depot, go in Lowe's, walk around, act like you're purchasing something. And I can say, oh, I have a home remodel company. And guess what? Also, while I'm in Home Depot or I'm in Lowe's, of course, you're going to see men in there all day who actually do. One person you might meet might do floors. One person you might meet might do countertops. One person might do cabinets. One person might do bathrooms. And you can actually build relationships with these people so that you can say, hey, if I'm able to send you X amount of business per month, you know, what would you charge me for this service? Or what would you charge me for that service? Take pictures or get pictures from these people so that you can see their work. Ask them if they can show proof that they're licensed and bonded. Go to one of their job sites. A lot of times, if you're asking them something like that, you're trying to make them more money. Everybody wants to make more money. They're not going to have an issue with you coming to a job site. They want you to, especially if they're good. You can create a whole book of business just off of networking like that. Okay. And now you are basically acting as a home remodeling company. And then even if it's, and the reason why I say home remodeling, just for this example, is because you don't want to get into any big construction because then you would need a general contractor. Then you got to pay the general contractor. And now, you know, your profit is a little bit lower. But even if you wanted to go so far so you could get more money, you can ask the general contractor, hey, this is what I'm doing. Can you oversee this job for a small or a nominal fee? Most of the time they're going to say yes, especially if they don't have anything else to do. It's money for them, it's money for you. So the importance of leveraging relationships is everything. And then of course, collaborating, networking is also just being creative. So for example, again, I don't want to keep using the same examples, but let's say if there's one person that does hair and one person that does lashes, the two of you can collaborate and say, hey, we're doing this special together. So if you charging $100 for your hair, you charging $100 for your lashes or $100 for your nails, y'all can say, hey, everybody who wants to come and get this certain package is $175. You see what I'm saying? So again, that's both of you sharing each other's book of business and both growing your clientele. So all of these things are ways that you can make money. And I gave a few examples, but I want you all to get the overall concept because I know what I said doesn't really apply to everybody. So do we have any confusion or misunderstanding on that? Or is everybody good? Okay, perfect. So I want to get into credit. This is my bread and butter, y'all. I love credit. This is my passion. So credit and the factors that make it. Number one is going to be your payment history. This is a percentage based on your frequency of on-time payments. So I don't care if you have 100 payment experiences across all of your accounts and you miss one payment, that's a 99% payment history, meaning that is going to be 35%, the largest amount of your FICO score, okay? When we go down to amounts owed, 30% of your credit score. This refers to how much of your credit you are using in comparison to your total available credit. So this is also, you may hear it called utilization. So how much credit are you using compared to how much you have? You want to try to keep this under 30% as a rule of thumb, but we'll get into that later. I'm gonna tell you exactly how you build a perfect credit report. Third is going to be your length of history, which is 15% of your FICO score. This tells how aged or experienced your credit is. So the longer your credit history, the more experienced you are, lenders are going to see you as less risky and they're going to be more likely to lend to you, okay? Credit mix. This is a mix of types of accounts on your report: installment versus revolving, secured and unsecured. So your installment loans are going to be student loans, mortgages, car payments. Revolving are going to be credit cards. Secure is going to be something that's tied to a tangible asset. So again, mortgage is secured by that home. Car note is secured by your vehicle. Unsecured is something that's not tied to an asset. So personal loans, student loans, okay? They want to see all types of accounts because again, this let them know that you are seasoned and experienced with your credit. So a lot of times if you've ever had a one-on-one with me, I always talk about season credit. That's what season is your total credit history, your experience. It lets the lenders know, can we trust her or not? Does she know what she's doing? Is she gonna give us our money back? Has she dealt with this before, or he? Okay. New credit. This is going to be how recent your newest accounts are that you have open. And the reason being that they look for this, and even when it comes down to inquiries, they pay attention to how many inquiries you have. And I know people ask me all the time, why does that matter? It matters because if you have a lot of new credit recently, or you have a lot of inquiries, it makes the banks feel like you might be in trouble. You might are going to run up the cars and not pay them back. It's just a big red flag, okay? So I'm going to move on to the next slide. Okay. So let's get into a perfect credit report. Number one, you want to make sure that your utilization or your credit card use is under 10%. So they say 30% as a rule of thumb is going to be good. If you look anywhere, if you look on Experian, if you look on Credit Karma, if you Google it, it's going to say 30%. Me as an expert in this industry, me being a funding expert, me being through it, 10% or less. Okay, that's gonna make sure that you guarantee that at any given time you can go get whatever you want. Okay, 10%. Payment history. You always want to have 100% payment history. Again, the example that I use, if you have 100 payment experiences and you have missed one payment, it matters. It doesn't matter how old it was. It doesn't matter what happened. If you lost your job, they don't care. All they care about is that one payment that you missed, and it makes it look like you are going to be a risk to them. So 100% payment history at all times. Derogatory marks. 0. This is going to be collections, charge-offs. Late payment is considered a derogatory mark. Anything like that. Public records, judgments, violence, any of that. Those are derogatory marks. You don't want to have any on your report. Credit age. You want to make sure, and this is the same thing as your list of history, you want to make sure it's at least 4 years. 5 to 7 is better, but it's kind of unrealistic, especially when you're starting out with the credit journey, for people to have 5 to 7 years. That's something that you build up towards. It does not hurt you that much. But for a perfect report, you want to try to have 5 to 7. Before is just fine. Okay. Your total number of accounts, you want to have at least 10 primary accounts. Okay. And then inquiries, no inquiries at all. And I just explained the reason why. Okay. So for this reason, I like to give an example of student loans, because a lot of times people don't understand, and this is how I knew that credit and financial literacy education was more important than credit repair, because so many people, even though they sign up, even though I give them the information, even though I give them onboarding, they just don't understand exactly how it works. So this is why for people who may have student loans, if your student loans are derogatory, you can have 5, 10 late payments on your student loans, and you get your student loans removed. What do you think is going to happen? People expect in their minds for their score to go up, but in actuality, your score is going to go down, because even though you remove those negative items, you remove those those accounts with the late payments. Guess what you've also done? You've taken away the positive payments, because if your student loans have been in deferment, if you've been on an income-driven repayment plan, for each month that it's been on IDR or it's been on deferment, even if you're paying nothing, it's giving you positive payment history each and every time, each and every time, each and every time. So that's why most of the time, if it's less than 2 to 3 payments, I try to just get the missed payments removed. But if you have more than that, most of the time we have to remove the whole account. And it makes your credit score go down for other reasons as well, like your credit age. We get our student loans when we're 17, 18 years old. And most of the time, because of the way that they break up the account numbers for every semester or quarter that you get a draw, those account numbers are repeated. So for every account, even though it's the same account, because they have it broken up, you're getting credit age for each of those accounts, okay? So once you remove those accounts, not only have you lost your payment history, but you've lost your credit age, and you've decreased your number of positive accounts that you have. So your score is going to go down. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Moving on to the next slide. Okay. So products that can help you build your credit. And these are actually some products that I use for my clients as well. So these are all very viable options. I want people to understand that when you are repairing your credit, most of the time, or I won't say most of the time, sometimes you have to wait until you start repairing in order for you to start building your credit. Sometimes you can do it simultaneously depending on the report, but sometimes you can't, because they won't be able to get approved for even some of the credit building products because where their credit report stands at this time. So I wanted to list some accounts, some credit building products that I knew almost everybody gets approved for because they don't do credit checks, okay? These are some very, very starter products that basically, like I said, anybody can get approved for. So I know everybody has heard of Grain. It's a revolving line of credit, and it's based on the cash flow coming through your bank account, okay? The Extra Card, I really love the Extra Card for my clients. It's a debit card. So it's going to hook up to your actual bank account. They will send you a card, but it's hooked up to your bank account that's already existing. It's not going to give you a credit check. And then the amount is based on the flow of cash coming through your bank account as well. And they report each month to the credit bureaus. Kickoff, it automatically gives you a $750 line of credit. There's no credit check, and you pay $5 a month. The payments are reported to Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Self-lender, everybody has heard of that. It's a secured loan, and with this, it allows you to save money while reporting the payments. Each of your payments goes into a savings account, okay? And then at the end of the term, you can choose to cash the money out, or you can choose to convert into like their secure credit card. Okay, so that's that. And then with Grid Money, no credit check, it's a guaranteed approval. It builds credit, and I really like this one because it gives you cash rewards. So a lot of times with like secure credit cards or credit building products, you're not going to get cash rewards. Cash rewards normally come with actual real credit cards, but Grid is different because it allows you to start building your credit. It's a starter credit building product, but it still gives you cash rewards. So it's a win-win. Rent reporters, I love rent reporters. Another variation of this is Rental Karma and Credit My Rent. It's no credit check. It allows you to report rent payments on your credit. I tell everybody, if you have a family member, you don't have to call your landlord. You don't have to call anybody. If you have a family member, a mom, dad, cousin, uncle, sister, brother, you can, and they own their home. They have to own their home because they will, the company will verify. But all they have to do is answer their phone, verify, okay, so-and-so has been paying me for X amount of years. The reason why I love the rent reporter so much is because you can backdate it 4 years. So this goes back to talking about your age of credit. Give me 1 second. This goes back to talking about your age of credit. A really easy way to age your credit out, even if you have new credit, add 4 rent accounts. I just gave y'all 3: Rent Reporters, Rental Karma, Credit My Rent. If you add each of those, I know for a fact Rent Reporters, they let you backdate it 4 years. So they'll put on your report that you've had the account for 4 years, but it will backdate 2 years of payments. So 2 years of on-time payments they will give you, but 4 years of credit history. And you can say that you pay however much. I tell my clients to say between $600 to $700. And just make sure you tell the person, whoever you're using, to put down the amount that you said and the time frame so that everything verifies. And I think you only pay like $7 a month. And as long as you pay that $7, they're reporting that trade line on your credit. So that's something that I really like and I recommend to all of my clients. Okay, swap a lease. This is great for my clients who want to get a car. Everybody wants to fix their credit to get a car, but they can't do it in the time frame that they are wishing to get it. So I always recommend this, especially if you don't have a car or if you just got your car repo. I get that a lot. A lot of people always tell me that they have that going on. And the good thing about swap a lease is it allows you to take over an existing lease. So you can go in there and they have all types of cars. It's not just like, you know, one specific type of car. You can get luxury cars, you can get economy cars, you can get any type of car. They literally have everything. And you can find cars on there that have cheap monthly payments, like between $100, $180, $200, $300, $400. So what I tell people is, find something that's going to last you through you getting your credit repaired. So you can find something that has 6 months left, 9 months left, a year, whatever, and they will take that auto trade line and put it on your credit report. As long as you're making sure that you're making the payments. And the good thing about it is, when you go to get your first auto loan, once your credit is repaired, you will be able to get approved for something more likely because you already have experience with an auto loan on your credit report. So that's another thing that I really like. Lastly, I wanted to talk to you all about trade lines. Everybody asks about trade lines. Everybody wants to build their credit using trade lines, and that's not the way. There are 2 types of trade lines that you can have. So you have your primary trade lines, which goes under the 8 to 10 accounts that I told you want to have for a perfect credit report. And then you have authorized user trade lines. When you hear people talking about trade lines that they're using to build their credit, most of the time they're referring to authorized user trade lines. These trade lines can cost you anywhere from $500 to $5,000, and it's based on the length of history. And the idea behind this is that, so what an authorized user trade line is like, let's say if I have a credit card and I put you on there as an authorized user, so now everything associated with my credit card goes onto your credit report. So the utilization, the payments, the history, it all goes to you. And the idea behind this is, now it's making you look like you have experience, you have more history, you have everything that I'm granting you, but it doesn't work, especially if your credit is not already good. So even if it does boost your credit score, is not going to do anything for you in terms of making your credit better or increasing your odds of approval, because they can see on there if you are an authorized user. So I tell people when they are building out their credit report, make sure you have at least 8 to 10 of your own primary trade lines, and then you have no derogatory marks, no late payments on your own personal credit report. Your credit report is clean as a whistle, and then you can add a trade line. There, you do always run the risk of the person who actually has the trade line as a primary not doing what they're supposed to do, such as keeping their utilization low, making their payments on time. So I don't like people to rush and go towards trade lines so much, because a lot of people, you know, they scam with that. Like for example, I have only one trade line on my report. My trade line is from a family member that I trust, that I know is very financially responsible. And I only have the trade line because it's 26 years old. So the trade line is really older than me. And it just helps me with my credit age, but my credit is perfect on its own. So I just wanted to put that out there so that there's no confusion on that. All right, so inquiry removal, because I know this is what everybody wants to know about. Okay, somebody just came in. All right, so inquiry removal is very, very easy. It's something that's tedious. How many authorized users can someone? Courtney, let me get back to your question. So after this slide, we're going to open up the floor for questions. Okay, so just give me a second. With the 24-hour inquiry removal, this is all you have to do. Literally, this is what I do when I remove my inquiries. Step one, whichever bureau they're on, you're going to call them. I've listed the numbers here for you all. These are the exact numbers for you to be able to get a live agent. These are the numbers that I use when I call for myself and when I call for my clients. So you're going to call the bureau. They're going to have you verify your personal information. They're going to ask you for your social, your address, your name, so on, just to verify. Step two, they're going to take you through a series of questions. They're going to say, if you have, I know Experian right off the bat because I call them all the time, but they're going to ask you if you have questions about your membership, if you have credit questions, if you have questions about your credit report, if you want to remove a fraud alert, if you want to active duty alert, so on and so on and so on. You want to tell them that you have questions about you have credit questions, you have questions about your credit report. So once you click that, then they're going to say, do you want to dispute? They're going to ask you what do you want to dispute? You're going to tell them inquiries. They're going to ask you if you want to do it with their automated system. No, you don't. You want to speak to a representative. Once you speak to the representative, they're going to verify you again. Ask your name, your address, say, how can I help you? You let that representative know, say, hey, is this the fraud department? If they say yes, then you can proceed. If they say no, let them know that you want to speak to the fraud department. If they tell you, because a lot of times they'll say, give me an opportunity to help you first. No, I just got off the phone with the fraud department. They were getting something handled for me. We got disconnected, because you don't want to keep repeating yourself the same thing that you need. It's annoying. So right off the bat, before you even go off the deep end to what you need, tell them you want to speak to the fraud department. Once you get connected to the fraud department, I always say, hey, how are you? And be very nice. You know, have a good tone. Ask them how they're doing. Be polite. And let them know that you have noticed some inquiries on your report that weren't authorized by you. So they'll say, okay, do you believe that these inquiries are in connection with fraud? Yes, I do. Because let me tell you something, and I'll get into that in another webinar or in one of my courses, but if you look up the definition of what fraud is considered in Cornell Law Dictionary, okay? anything that you did not consent to being reported, and this is according to 1681B, permissible purpose, okay? If you did not consent, I don't care if you do owe somebody, okay, and they put a collection on your report. If you did not give written consent to who that information is about, which is pertaining to you, it's fraud, okay? And that's the law. That's not something I'm making up. So if they ask you, do you think this is fraud? Yes, it is, because you didn't consent to that information being reported on your credit report. Okay, so the next step is, somebody just asked the question. What about medical bills? Hold the questions. I promise after I get through this, we are going to get into question and answer. So just give me a second. Okay, so step 4, you want to provide them with the creditor and date of every non-account holding inquiry on your report. What do I mean by non-account holding inquiries? If you apply for an account and you got that account, that is going to be an account holding inquiry. Okay, if you apply for something that you got denied for, that's a non-account holding inquiry. If you went to go apply for a mortgage, or you went to go apply for an auto loan and they ran your credit 1,000 times, because that's what they do, those are non-account hold. Every inquiry that you have besides the one that you got approved for, if you got approved, would be considered a non-account holding inquiry. Okay, so you're going to tell them, is this and this date, and they're going to say, okay, what else? This and this and this date. List all of them. List all of them. If you tell them an inquiry that's attached to the account, so as long, even if you have an account with someone, so let's say for Chase, I have Chase cards, but if I want to go apply for another Chase card today, if the inquiry date that is from today doesn't match the inquiry date on the account that I already have, it's still a non-account holding inquiry, even if I get approved today, because they're not going to report that I have opened a new account until weeks later. Okay, so list out all of the non-account holding inquiries. If you tell them an account holding inquiries, they're going to tell you they can't remove it because you have an account in that name with that date. Okay, when they ask you, after they go through all of them, when they ask if you would like to place a fraud alert, decline at that moment and suggest that you may place one in the future. So when they'll say, would you like to place a fraud alert? I always say, no, thank you. I don't see anything else at this time. I don't see any accounts open in my name. So if I do, then I'll call back and I'll place one. They're going to tell you the inquiries will be removed within 24 to 48 hours. Most of the time, they're gone within 3 hours, 1 to 3 hours. I've seen it done within 20 minutes, okay? Sometimes you will get an agent that gives you pushback. They'll ask you if you sent in a FTC report. If they say that, say yes, I already sent it. When did you send it? I sent it over 30 days ago. If they keep giving you problems, hang up, call back, get somebody else. You might have to call 2 or 3 times, but eventually you will get it done if you are determined and if you are consistent. I'll tell you now, Equifax is the hardest. So Experian, they do it like this. It's gonna be off like that. And I've never gotten pushback with Experian to where I had to hang up and call back. TransUnion, prepare to call. Sometimes you get a good representative, but prepare to call at least 2 or 3 times. Equifax, you might have to call 5 times. I'm just going to be honest, but it does work. I have replicated this over and over. I can show y'all on my personal reports. I have no inquiries on no accounts. I mean, on no credit reporting agencies. Across all 3, I have no inquiries. And I fund myself all the time. So if you do it, it does work, okay? And that is all. So, or questions. If y'all can use the raise hand feature so that I can see your questions, that would be perfect. Okay. Jackie, you can unmute yourself. You can go ahead.
Hey girls, so my question was on the rent reporters.
Mhm.
I know you said to call in and say that you pay, like have the person call and saying you paid $600 to $700 a month for at
Yes.
least 4 years.
Yeah.
Will they ask for any like verification?
Nope. As long as that person answers the phone. So what's going to happen is when you apply, you're going to put this information on the application, but whoever you put down that owns the home, when you put their number, rent reporters is going to call them. Okay. And no, they're not going to ask you for anything as long as that person answers the phone. But if that person is like not cooperative, then they will ask for verification.
Okay, thank you, girl.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Oh, I see two other people raise their hand. Nicholas, go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Hey, I just wanted to ask on the accounts that like help you build your credit. Do you recommend getting all of them, 2 of them, 3 of them?
So again, when we're looking at the perfect report, right? We want to have at least 10 positive accounts. Okay. So however many you need to make sure you have 10 positive accounts so that you can season your credit, that's how many I recommend that you get.
Okay, thank you.
I want to be clear, when you are applying for these accounts, and this is something that I forgot to mention, so I'm glad you asked that, you don't want to apply for accounts at different times. Like you don't want to, this month I'm gonna apply for something, next month I'm gonna apply for something, the next month, no, you don't want to do that. When you apply for accounts, even if it's not just credit building products, whatever it is, you want to apply for them all at once, because every time you apply for an account, you are re-aging your credit. So your credit history, your average age of credit is going to be each account's time length that you've had it divided by the total number of accounts. So if every month you're adding a new account and you're re-aging it from 0, you are decreasing your credit history. So even when I apply for stuff, like if I do a funding sequence for myself, I'm going to apply for 10 cars and what, not literally 10, but however many I'm doing that day, I'm going to apply for them all in the same day so that they can all age out together. And it's better because as they're aging out together, it's increasing your credit history. Okay. What other questions did we have? I need to go back to the chat so I can see. Sammy, you asked about medical bills. What did you want to know about medical bills? You can unmute yourself.
I guess I was asking, how do you remove a medical bill from being in collections?
So that's going to be a whole nother webinar. I can't even get into telling you right now. It would be way too much for me to try to explain. But I will definitely be going over that and how to remove collections and stuff. We just don't have time for it right now.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Courtney, how many authorized users can someone put on their account without it being a negative on the primary card holder? Courtney, is not going to be a negative to the primary card holder. What actually happens is, depending on which card that you do it, like what bank it's with, they will shut your card down. So you have to just know each bank and know their rules, but it will never be negative to you because it doesn't show on your credit report how many people you have on as an authorized user on your card. Okay. Jillian.
Hey, so I know you spoke about the inquiries like for the ones when you're not approved. So when you are approved, is it a way to remove that, or you just have to
Yes.
Okay.
So if you have not already had the account that you were approved for reported on your credit report, you can remove it. So for example, me, whenever I apply for funding, if I apply right now and I get approved right now, the very next second, my very next step, I'm gonna call and I'm gonna get my inquiries removed, because they're not, as soon as you get approved for the account, they're not even gonna report it until after they send a card. Most of the time, they don't send it until 7 to 10 days, even if it's not a card. Let's say if it was for a card, they normally don't report it for 30 to 45 days. So you have time to do it. But of course, you don't want to ask them, oh, when is this going to report? So I just, as soon as I get approved and I get what I want, I'm calling right then, and they'll remove it because it's not.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Keisha.
A quick question. For the one that didn't take all the notes as much as they want to, are you making this available to us, this recording?
So the replay will be for sale. I'm not gonna put the replay just available. But it will be for sale.
Thank
Any other questions, Amani? All right, Amani.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi. I've heard people use their credit cards to help pay off what's it called? Educational loans. Is that true? Or
I mean, they can do it if they want to. I wouldn't recommend it, but
yeah. Okay. I didn't get a good feeling from that. But I had another question. So when somebody has a 401k, and they do want to take from that, there's a process. And what is that process called?
I don't know exactly what the process is called, but if you go to your employer, or if if you go to HR and you ask them who your 401k is through or who it's with, they will give you information and you can go through the steps based on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jerry?
Yeah, so my question is, I currently have my car financing it through Exeter Finance. And during the time of purchase, I was still in high school. So I ended up getting someone to co-sign at the moment for me. And I'm at like a 28 interest rate, which is skyrocket. And I'm trying to get myself out of the loan. I was wondering, I know you said something about the swap lease or something like that. Would that be something that I can still consider in doing, or just for like first time buyers?
It doesn't matter if you're a first time buyer or not, but you won't have to sell your car. But what I would recommend in that situation is to sell your car. Right now, used cars are actually at a higher value than they've ever been because of the shortage from COVID and parts being backed up. Used cars are at a very high value. Actually, if I had another car, if I had like a little pluck car, I would sell my car. I would. I told my mom the other day, I said, Mom, I'm about to be on Pat and Charlie. If y'all know what that means your left foot and your right foot, because I can actually get more for my car now than I paid for it when I purchased it. So it would be a great idea to sell your car and then get a swap lease until you are able to get your credit into a position to where you can purchase a car.
Okay, so with that being said, would you recommend selling it back to like the dealership, or could you just sell it locally to like someone local, like a resident?
You can sell it on your own locally, try Facebook, try Craigslist. But also I will say, I wouldn't sell it back to your dealership because they're just gonna try to get you to buy another car. It's annoying. But True Car, CarMax, and what's the place that sells cars? They sell the cars online and it's white and blue. And normally,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah,
Carvana.
what is it?
Carvana.
Carvana, yes, thank y'all. Carvana, they will buy your car without any other hassle. You don't have to buy a car from them. They're not going to try to force you. They will literally, you want to sell your car? Okay, this is what we appraise it at. Here's your check. You out the door.
Okay.
Okay.
So much.
No problem. Amani?
Okay. What websites could I swap release?
The website is called Swap Lease. I'm about to put
Oh,
it.
it is called swap release. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat for y'all. And if y'all want to get Real Reporter, let me know because I have a link for that too.
Okay. I would like that too.
Okay, I'm about to put the Real Reporter's link. Uh-oh. I'm gonna send it in the email because right now I can't get to it and I'm losing y'all's questions. I put the Swap Police in the chat and then who was next? Alexis.
So to his question about selling your car back. So if you're still paying a loan on your car, you can still sell your car back to the dealership?
Yes, you can sell it. So what will happen is when you go to the places that I mentioned, they will give you an offer. Once they give you the offer, the portion that you owe, they will write that portion of the check to your lien holder. And then the remainder of the money, they will write the check out directly to you.
Wow, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, I don't see any questions. So what I want to ask y'all is, how did y'all enjoy the webinar? I want y'all to give me some feedback. Wait a second. Okay, give me some feedback on the webinar, y'all. How did y'all enjoy it? Okay, somebody said it's been amazing. Thank you. What did y'all think? Did y'all learn anything? Because I plan on doing another one soon. And I want to make sure if y'all have any critique, even if it's, bad, let me know. Amani, did you have a question? Very informative, loved it. Okay, Amani, you put your hand down. Awesome, perfect.
I just wanted to say it was really neat. I like how neat it was and well put together. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. I definitely will be doing this again. And the next topic is gonna be something else. Y'all gonna have to tell me what y'all want to hear next time. Keisha, you can unmute yourself.
I was gonna say it just had I was much a tight, excellent flow, very poised, very tempered. You have an excellent flow with it. The presentation was spot on, phenomenal, and I'm so proud of you. It was amazing.
Thank you. That's my auntie, y'all.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Nicholas.
I just want to reiterate, like when you post and you say you're gonna be dropping gems, you really be dropping gems for real.
Thank you.
People really realize that, but they definitely need to take advantage of your thought process and the things that you're able to offer as it relates to knowledge.
Thank you so much, Nicholas. I appreciate that. Jerry.
I would definitely say it was very informative, especially for my age range, like the teenager. I think that this is something that a lot of us need to, go ahead and understand and actually learn the meaning of it so that when we get older, we don't have to be in situations that, maybe our parents or whoever is going through, and that when it'll put us in a position to be prepared and, pass that information on to the next generation. So I definitely enjoy myself, and I'm interested in learning more.
Thank you. And thank you for coming, you guys. Thank you for taking this time out of your day. I'm so glad that you could learn. This is something that I will be doing consistently. So like I said, I'm moving into coaching. So this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be posting on Instagram, different things. You will see a lot more content and videos from me, informative content, and I will be doing webinars frequently too. So Jackie.
I just want to say that I genuinely enjoyed your class and I can't wait to your credit class. And I just want to say I appreciate you giving us the information about the recession and the strategies, because you don't want to wait until it's time to go through it and then want to do something about it. So I appreciate you for even taking the time out to give us that information.
Exactly. Thank you so much too. I appreciate the feedback. Jillian.
Definitely, very informative. Thank you for simplifying it for, basically for everybody to understand. I think it was, good enough to where anybody can understand it. So thank you for that, and the patience for doing it for us.
Thank you. And y'all let me know, what do y'all want to hear from me next? What do y'all want to learn about for my next webinar so I can know? Y'all can just put it in the chat. You don't have to unmute yourself. Credit. The credit is coming. That is on the agenda. Business credit funding. Okay. Yep. That's on the agenda as well. Removing derogatory marks. All right. Well, thank y'all so much for coming and making my first webinar a success. I appreciate you all as well. Funding, I got you. We will be going over all of that. I promise this is not gonna be the last time. So everybody, y'all have a great night. And I'm glad that you all found value in this, and I will definitely be adding you all to the email list. So whenever I get ready to do the next webinar, you all will be the first to know. Also, I will be dropping courses very soon. Again, like I said, the courses are going to be very, very affordable. It's going to be nowhere near credit repair as a service. And the great part is with the courses, not only will you be able to get your credit repair, but you will also be learning as well. So that's great. Do you like eCredible? Is it a site that reports you paying your utilities to the credit bureaus? I have heard of eCredible. I don't like it or dislike it. I don't really have a feeling towards it. I know exactly what you're talking about, but in my opinion, it's just like, what do they call it? Experience boost. They really don't go off of that. I mean, if you don't pay your utilities, I mean, that's on you because you need your utilities for everyday life, right? So the credit bureaus don't really consider that. That's not something major. That's an essential necessity. And that's the same thing like with Experience Boost. So I don't have a feeling towards it. It's not a yay or a nay for me. All righty. If that's all, good night to everybody. And I will see y'all next time.